Good morning, everybody. So pleased you could join us. Today, we're covering 9th grade resources on the Next Steps Idaho website. So this is resources specifically for high school freshmen. Again, it's a 30-minute tour, so we have quite a bit to get through, and we'll get started now. We constructed personas in order to give this presentation based on a survey that we sent to college and career professionals about the questions that they receive most often from students in each grade level. So a big thank you to everyone who helped make this possible, and any resemblance to real students' names, vague similarity in the silhouette, completely inadvertent. The format is we will introduce a student and the questions that they're asking or the scenario that they're wrestling with. We're going to break away from the PowerPoint and answer those questions with the Next Steps Idaho website. And then we'll pop back to the presentation for a couple takeaways. When that takeaway slide comes up, please feel welcome to share additional resources in the chat. We'd love to know how you guys are answering these questions. So I'm really quickly going to introduce all the panelists. So we have Sarah Scudder, the Career Information Systems and Outreach Team Manager. We have Byron Yankee, the College and Career Program Manager. And then we're really lucky to have Brock from the State Department of Education and is the Advanced Opportunities Coordinator for the entire state. So he'll be talking about that towards the end of the presentation. So Brock, Sarah, Byron, thank you for joining us. And we're going to get kicked off with Byron and a student named Molly.
So Molly is a typical freshman. You know, she really wants to know, who am I? How do I know what I want to do after high school? She's wide-eyed and willing to consider a lot of opportunities in front of her. And Molly's going to look forward to the adventures that she has in high school, not only in classes, but also the extracurricular activities with that. So one of the things that I would start with Molly is I would take her to the Next Steps website, and I would click on the box that says for high school students on the landing page. This landing page shows you grade levels, but also by scrolling down, there's a lot of other opportunities that present themselves. So it's some activities with it. And more than anything, I would ask Molly to have a look at this video. It's a great video about choices that Molly and other students have when they consider what they want to do after high school. So from this page, Molly could scroll up to the very top and click on the 9th grade landing page here. Or she could go to the mega menu and click 9th grade with it. Of most interest here are some things that will be expandable. Each of these expands out, and it provides opportunities for Molly to learn about new choices with that. Clicking on new, you've got choices. Molly sees a whole array of other things about apprenticeships, community colleges, Idaho schools, technical programs. But then I would take Molly a little bit lower on the page and have her get started on the 9th grade learning plan. The 9th grade learning plan is, as all of the grade levels, starts out with a kind of an explainer video, a 3-minute pep talk with it. And so there are a lot of activities on the right-hand side. These activities were selected by counselors as we went around the state, and we asked them, what are some great activities to be done in 9th grade? One of the first places I would start is with the GPA. So Molly can click on learning about the GPA with it. It's an explanation with it. If she clicks on the orange box there, she can actually go through and create the classes, the letter grades that she has, and it calculates it. Molly would then need to go back one page, and then she could record her GPA here. She could save it. There's a variety of ways for Molly to save that GPA. If she has a one-on-one personal device, she can save it as a PDF. She can save the URL. She can email the URL to others with it. Another activity on the ninth grade high school learning plan is the interest profiler. And by clicking on the interest profiler, Molly would be taken through a series of questions that asks her her preference on what she likes to do, what she thinks she's good at, and what her talents are. At the very end, Molly will see the learning profiles, and Molly has a very high score in the social helper section with it. There's an explanation with it, and there's some careers across that she could look at. So for example, she can look at any of the other opportunities with that, and she can find out about those careers by selecting one of those. So Joan, if you want to go up and on the social helper part, let's scroll across and open one of the career cards that are there. So maybe she wants to be a preschool teacher or assistant. This gives some basic information about salaries and things, and it indicates whether or not a degree is required. And if so, many of those programs will list which college or university the students could go to if they want to advance that career. I would then take Molly back to the dashboard, and by clicking on back to the dashboard, scrolling down, and I would have her click the Explore Careers. Here you can see there's a variety of ways that she can look forward with that. She can learn about careers in the military. She could learn about Idaho apprenticeships. And then in the career video and interviews with that, there's over 300 different short videos from the Federal Department of Labor that provides a snapshot into what are some of those tasks and activities for each of those types of careers that are there. As we look at Molly and try to have her think forward, I would also have these takeaways for Molly. First of all, it's a fine balance between interest and pressure. Molly's a freshman. There's a lot of things that she can do and think about. And with support from her family and counselors and the teachers, that'll be very, very helpful. One of the things that could be of importance is for Molly to consider some volunteer service, some job shadows, looking into extracurricular activities that are there. But most often, it is important for Molly to know that things change as she learns more in high school and thinks forward, and to stay engaged with college and career decisions. 75% of four-year graduates have changed their major more than at least once. And so looking forward, Molly could be on the path of discovery, and it's important for her to realize it is about exploring and discovering. Next up, we have Niles.
So Niles is a very technical freshman, but he's uncertain. So he really wants to know what careers are out there, how much money can he make, does he have to go to a specific college if he picks a specific program? And then he's heard about apprenticeships, but he's not really sure what those are. So I would have Niles go to the Next Steps Idaho website. And the first thing I'd have him do is go up to the mega menu. And in our quick links, there's a number of different assessments. I would either have him do the interest profiler like Byron talked about, or future finder, because those are going to be ones that are going to be talking about his interests and things that he wants to do. And the results are going to provide him with occupations that he could start to look at. And those occupations or career cards are going to provide him with the wages that each of those occupations may pay. So when he finishes up interest profiler, just like Joan and Byron had shown, he could click on photographer and our music director, doesn't matter. And he can find out the salary and then whether or not there's an education or training program in Idaho that's going to offer him that. So for instance, if he's looking to be a floral designer, he has lots of different choices between Boise State or Idaho State or the University of Idaho. But there might be some programs, like if he was interested in architecture, where we only have the University of Idaho as the current program for architecture in our state. So if he's really interested in architecture, but he's not sure that he just wants to have one choice for going to school in Idaho, maybe he wants to go to a school outside of Idaho, I'd have Niles go up to the mega menu, go to the under 4 high school students and down to the career readiness for students tab. And scrolling down, he can explore education. And here he has some other resources like Big Future from College Board and Peterson's National College Finder, so that he can peruse other opportunities in other states for an architecture degree or something like that. So anything that he's interested in there. The next thing I would have Niles do is go back to the main landing page or the mega menu, and under education and training, there's apprenticeship and work-based learning. And for here, this is where Niles is going to get a little bit more information, and click on learning about apprenticeships. He can find out a little bit more about what apprenticeships are. He gets a little bit of the basics. He gets some information on why it might be important to pursue an apprenticeship. And then he can watch some videos about people doing different apprenticeships here in Idaho, whether it's making cider or working as an auto tech, lots of different opportunities. And then he will scroll back up and he can go right to the Department of Labor's apprenticeship information, where he can get frequently asked questions answered and look for apprenticeship opportunities that are occurring right now here in Idaho. So if we go back to the PowerPoint, some takeaways for Niles is that there are lots of different resources available for him to answer those specific questions, such as how much money will I make, or where can I go to school? So we talked about Next Steps Idaho, career cards as an option, and taking the assessments. But there's also resources like Big Future and Peterson's, where he can do some additional searches around national opportunities for him, both for college and for what the wages might be if he were to live in another state besides Idaho when he graduates. He really needs to be balanced in terms of not being pushed too hard to do investigation, because we know that over time, as kids experience more things in high school, their interests and values change. And so Niles most likely will be looking at different opportunities from his freshman year up through his senior year. So now we're going to turn it over to Octavia.
Thank you, Sarah. So Octavia, again, as a freshman, she has college on her radar. It's something that she's planning for, and she doesn't quite know how to go about planning for that. So these are some of the questions that she has. What do I need to do to start preparing for college? Do I even have to go to college? And I don't know which one to go to. On the Next Steps Idaho website, I would direct students like Octavia to underneath the 4 high school students on the mega menu to the 9th grade landing page. And Byron mentioned this, but we're going to linger here a little bit longer. I'd have her open the accordion, do all that you can to make good grades. This talks about particularly good study habits, and it has this link right here to a really incredible TED Talk, just about what it's like to learn. This woman, she traveled all over the country. Oh, let's watch this ad. And she did really poorly in math, but now she's a professor of engineering. And so she just talks about that journey and like what we're taught in schools and like the way we learn. It's just a really fascinating TED Talk that will get students like Octavia thinking about what they need to do to succeed academically. So this is a great resource. There's a fun infographic, and it can be found again on this 9th grade landing page. Also under here is get involved in extracurricular activities, because as someone considering college, grades are super important. You can't be underestimated, especially when you have the opportunity to get ahead as you would as a freshman, to just get those good habits ingrained. but you also want to be well-rounded. You want to be involved and have things to talk about on your resume. And so just bringing up like the CTE organizations and figuring out if they're offered locally or at their school, this can be a great way for students to get involved really early on in their high school careers. Moving down even further, we have Seek Out Mentoring and Support, which has a great link to this first generation college students resource page. And so encouraging Octavia to check this out, connecting with the different TRIO programs in Idaho, connecting with her mentor. It's a helpful resource that gives a lot of instruction and help. And then again, as Byron said, you can find a bunch of information about the individual choices. I will go back to the high school landing page and scroll down. I'm sure as educators and counselors, most of you are familiar with Above the Noise, which is a PBS big production show. And they create things about a whole bunch of different topics. And this one is a college degree worth it. And it takes you through the price and like the cost, and then it looks down the road and sees how much people earn if they go to college as opposed to if they don't. But it's a really, I think, unbiased and honest reflection of the state of college and what people should be considering. So for Octavia, who is so focused on college already, just as a freshman, I think that is really valuable to check out. So we'd also go to, because she's a freshman and Next Steps Idaho was created to promote these things, we would search for the direct admissions initiative, because this should be on every high school student's radar, like from the beginning. This is the State Board of Education's initiative to allow every high school student to go to college. So students will either in their senior year receive a letter of 6 or a letter of 8 of the in-state institutions that they already are approved to attend. And so that's a big deal and something to get somebody like Octavia excited about. Hand in hand with that is Apply Idaho, which is the free common college application to 10 institutions. And that's something, again, so early as a freshman, she's not applying to college, but it's something to look forward to and something she should maybe consider as she continues to develop her interests and figure out where she might want to attend college later. So those are all really good resources. I will just finish up saying on the mega menu, if you go to for high school students and then the career readiness, again, Byron and Sarah were here, but we're also going to go to the 9th grade activities, this high school learning plan, and we're going to look at these additional activities where it says reviewing college and career terminology. And this is a fun, depending on your definition of fun, exercise for students to go through and just see whether or not they understand the vocabulary that's going to be involved, no matter what they pursue. Like, it's just really helpful, particularly as freshmen, to understand some of these things that are going to be becoming more and more frequent in their life as they continue. And then there's also a definitions page, which they can study before taking the test. So I think that's a really helpful activity that somebody like Octavia, who again is so focused on college, even as a freshman, will want to check out. So some takeaways for Octavia, and please, if you guys answer this differently, throw whatever resources you use into the chat. But for her, emphasis on GPA is huge, of course, but we would also want to encourage her to be inquisitive, understand how to present oneself, like volunteer, get involved in sports, just be a little bit well-rounded. I will go back to the website really quickly. We're going to pull up actually on the college. We're going to go back to the dashboard and we're going to 10th grade activities. There's this great soft skills series that talks about a lot of the skills that you need to succeed in any professional environment or workplace. And that might be something worth mentioning to somebody like Octavia as well. And then encouraging her to talk to real students who have attended college. It's really helpful. For instance, if one of those students failed math, like a TED Talk person, and then they overcame it, it's really reassuring for students to hear about real students and their situation. Finally, the importance of grandparents, parents, teachers, coaches, any trusted adult cannot be overstated. And so just encouraging students to ask them about their experiences and how they had their decision process, it's a really great first step for a lot of freshmen. And with that, we're going to pass it along to Paulina and Brock.
We all know Paulina. Paulina is a driven student, and she is interested in pursuing some advanced opportunities. And so I want to talk about some of the things that might be available to Paulina to consider and to think about. So Paulina is considering dual credit, or has heard of something called dual credit. She's heard of something maybe called AP exams. She's maybe heard of a program called Advanced Opportunities. And so some of these things here that we're going to show you would be helpful resources. One of the first things that I would tell Paulina is that she needs to talk with her college and career counselor, her high school counselor, middle school counselor. She needs to talk with someone, and they will be a great reference for her. As part of that, Advanced Opportunities is available to all students who are attending public schools, not only for the opportunities of taking courses, but also in exams, etc., but also to have those paid for. And so what I would highlight to her is on the Next Step website, the Advanced Opportunities program and some of the overviewing ideas of the program. So for example, that it pays for dual credit courses, that it pays for exams. It allocates $4,125 for a student to utilize towards these courses and costs. And so I would highlight this to her. One of the things to talk about and to show is this video here. It highlights, this is from my predecessor, and this highlights the program as a whole. And so if someone's more of a visual person and wants to listen to this, this would be an option available to them as well. If you scroll down there, Joan, on the bottom, this has the FAQs of some of the frequently asked questions regarding advanced opportunities. So for example, how will the dual credits apply to college? What courses should I be considering? So for example, referencing GEM courses or general education courses, some of the exams that are available. What are some of the limitations? What happens if I fail a course? All of those kind of rules and regulations, those are helpful there in the FAQ. They're also, if you want to click on the dual credit offices, also a good starting point is to talk with the dual credit offices. And so we've listed and provided the dual credit contacts here of the schools that some students may be considering. And one of the great things about being in Idaho is these courses are transferable amongst our institutions. And so it's really a matter of kind of what the student's preference is here and what their kind of goals are based on their learning plan. Paulina might be a student that is really driven and has a goal in mind to graduate early. One of the things that the Advanced Opportunities program has is an early graduation scholarship. And so I would show her this. This is available here. This is information about the program, kind of the requirements, because at 9th grade or even before that, a student would need to be planning this out to make sure that they meet that criteria. A lot of students have to weigh the decision of whether staying in school and receiving the reduced tuition rate of taking dual credit versus graduating early and having to pay the full tuition rate, but receiving the scholarship. And so there's this kind of planning that needs to go into this. What Joan's showing you here is a link to the Idaho State Department of Education's Advanced Opportunities website. This highlights the whole program. Joan, if you click on program information, scroll down just a little bit, click on program information. There is a booklet and a brochure. So one of the things about advanced opportunities is that families need to be brought into this conversation. This is a family planning process, and this whole booklet provides all the details to the program in one PDF. So you could use this, for example, if you're a college or career advisor, and provide this to the family. There's also hard copies, and if you need those, you can always reach out to me and I can provide those. And then on this page, also one of the things about the Advanced Opportunities Program is, since it is a separate process, it does require a student to create an account. So they would need to create an account, and this is the link to do so. But again, before they were to go down this route, I would have them talk to a college and career advisor, like many of you on this call here, to reference that. And then just to kind of reiterate, you know, Paulina is a driven student, and so we want to help her get connected. And so what would be really important is utilizing some of these resources in terms of the relationships and the offices available and the people available to her, so that she can make sure that she's receiving the right information. Because we all know that none of us have all the information, but collectively we can make sure that a student is helped in the right direction. With that being said, thanks, Joan.
Thanks, Brock.
Now it's time for the code red question that we have from ninth graders. So what are the easiest classes I can take? I don't even want to see the show of hands of how many times you probably all get asked, what are the easiest classes I can take? And I actually just got to have that conversation with my sixth grader who was registering for seventh grade classes. So the best thing to talk about with students about taking the easiest classes is trying to let them know that the easiest classes are going to be the ones that play to their strengths. So if they have interests and skill sets in certain areas, being attracted to taking those classes that are going to play to their skill set is going to make the class easy, because if you're enjoying it and you're engaged in it and it's something that you like to do, that's really going to help you. So Joan, for helping kids go through the process of what are the easiest classes I can take, can you go to the Next Steps Idaho website, please? And we're going to go to the mega menu, and we're going to go down to the career readiness for students. And I believe it's in the ninth grade activity section. We're going to scroll down to electives that interest me activity. And here they can start to look through your course catalog. They can look at course names, and then they can start to look at whether those classes are going to be something that's going to help them achieve a life goal or a career goal, or whether it's something that speaks to their passion. And so this is a great way to get students who are looking to take that easy class to look at the different courses that your school offers and try to identify whether it's going to be something that's going to be helpful to them in their career or in their life, or it's a passion. And that way they can help identify those courses that are so-called their easiest courses.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you, Byron. Thank you, Brock. So we actually finished 2 minutes early, which means we have time for questions. I will walk you through where you can find the recorded versions of these webinars. So on the Next Steps Idaho website, I'm going to leave this page. We're going to go to the home page. We're going to go to the mega menu. We're going to go underneath Information Center for educators. Underneath Educator Communications and Curriculum Archive, we're going to hit Get Updates. And on this page at the top, you'll find each grade level's recorded presentation 1 week after it's published. So the 10th grade webinar will be published early this afternoon. And then next week around this time will be the 9th grade. And then again, for the series of 8 through 12, the last one is occurring next Wednesday, and that will focus on 8th grade. So we hope that you can make it. If possible, tell parents about it. They can check out the recorded version, and we just want to equip people to use Next Steps Idaho however possible, however is most helpful for your guys' situation and the students that need help. So thank you so much for joining us. If you have questions, throw them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll wrap up a couple minutes early.
Joan, there is one question there. It says, is there a landing page on Next Steps that holds the information students have saved so they can easily find it? And so, Sarah, we're going to have you hop on for the question about saving.
Sure. So we are actually in the process right now of building our login and student level and administrative level logins. And those will be available for a student starting next fall. So the next school year, they will have a login and a dashboard where they can see all of their saved information. Currently in our high school learning plan activities, students can either save to their activity results to a Google Drive. They can save it to a Dropbox. They can save it as a PDF. They can also email it, or if they're on a one-to-one device, they can bookmark the page with their answers. And any of our assessments, they can download and save as a PDF those results this year. But next year, they will be able to find all of that and pull that up through their Next Steps portfolio.
Great. And just a reminder, these quick tours are just to give you an idea. We know there are experts across the state to be helpful. That's why we record the videos. Please be sure to share this information, give us ideas, contact us at any point to help us do our jobs better. And with that, thank you all for all the work you do for Idaho students. Thank you, Brock Estelle, for joining us. Superstar. Yes, we'll mail this to your mom so she can watch it later on. So with that, we'll see you next week.